Hello, everybody. Allow me to indulge you just for a couple minutes. Hello, everybody. Just getting a little of the aggression out. Welcome to Six String Corner, as we're going to give you a couple of lead guitar live lessons. Glad to have you on board. And so we're going to get started pretty soon here. So glad to see you. If you're in the United States, happy Thanksgiving to you tomorrow. Hope you're doing it safely. At least that's the idea. We like to think we're all going to be safe. So you guys celebrate the best way you feel you should be. I know for us, we are staying here at home tomorrow, but we are still planning a feast. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And so we're going to get to do that for a bit and enjoy that tomorrow for us. So those of you who are watching afterwards, obviously it's after Thanksgiving, and it's hopefully many of you are watching this post 2020, which has been the most exciting year of never. So we hope that you guys are going to learn something here today, because I'm going to give you a lesson on a couple of lead guitar lines that are fairly simple. So this is actually geared towards those of you who maybe want to get started. I want to just play a solo. I've never thought of playing one. And, this is your chance, right? We all have that first solo we want to get to. Or maybe these are some lines that you've always wanted to try to learn, but you're not quite there yet to figure them out. So I'm here to help you out and to make that work for you. So we're going to cover two very, well, I would say different songs. They are different songs, but they're from two bands that were pretty rebellious in their time, if you really want to think about it. I mean, the Rolling Stones for their time were kind of the bad boys of the 60s, right? And so, in that sense, and of course, Nirvana, kind of the same way. That song kind of revolutionized music. So in the 90s, at least, for grunge. And so in that sense, they are similar, but in many senses, they are different in their style. One's very heavy, very raunchy, and the other one is kind of, I don't know, Middle Eastern weird stuff. I don't know, whatever. So we're going to cover both of those, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. Again, thank you. This is Six String Corner. I have down in the description below. This is especially important this time around for those of you, especially who are trying to figure out lead guitar, because I'm going to show you some licks here. But as you might guess, there's a lot more to it as you move along. One of the things that's going to be really important to you is to actually literally know where your notes are. And I know that sounds kind of almost simplistic, but I know that many don't know where those notes are at. When you do eventually learn lead guitar, when you are about to learn guitar and you're in that process, Of course, you got to learn, scales. There's different kinds of scales out there, pentatonic, major, minor. But there are simpler ways, and I should say shortcut, more trickier ways to learn those things, just by learning patterns and moving around the neck. But that being said, knowing where your notes are at is crucial to that development. So rather than learning I want to learn the A minor, and I'm going to learn the B flat, and I'm going to learn the C, and you're going to learn each one of those scales. You don't do that. You just learn some basic patterns. And then by knowing where your notes are at, you'll know what key you're in. Okay, pretty quick, like boom, 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 boom. So you only have to learn like 4 or 5 patterns depending on the scale that you're learning. So I have a guide down below in the description called the Note Finder, and it's been pretty popular. I know a lot of folks have been using it and been getting some pretty good results from it. So if you don't have it, it is in that link below in the description. I think both on Facebook. I know it's definitely on YouTube. Those of you who are watching YouTube, and it's also on the Facebook Live. Whoever's on Facebook right now. And go ahead and grab that, download that, and that'll be a guide for you that you can use as you're learning lead guitar. So you can kind of take that, put that aside over here, and then, I'm going to learn these patterns on the guitar, lead patterns, which, by the way, is a topic I'm going to cover soon. So here's another reason to get the Note Finder now, in showing you lead patterns. And then from there, you can then find any scale. C major, D flat major, you pick all of them as long as you know where your notes are at. So the Note Finder down below will help you with that. So be sure to grab that. It's down below. I have guitar finger gymnastics. I have that all. It's just a free set of videos that I have on warm-ups, exercise routines, stretching, all that kind of stuff. It's also down below. That you'll also need if you want to play lead. It's actually if you want to play any kind of guitar, but for lead guitar, you're really going to have to do that because there's times you're going to have to need to stretch. You're going to have to do different coordinated things. And you're going to have to do that. So the guitar finger gymnastics, it's on the YouTube channel. I don't know if it's on Facebook, but if you're on Facebook, go to my YouTube channel if you don't see it on 6 String Corner for this video and for actually a lot of my videos. And you'll see it right in the link below there, guitar finger gymnastics. Go ahead and grab it. It doesn't cost you a dime. Just go ahead and get it. And hopefully that'll help you too as you go along on your journey in playing guitar. Okay, so let's get down to it. We're going to start with we're doing this in chronological order, right? We're going to go 60s to 90s. So we're going to go to the 60s, and I'm going to start with the Painted Black, which is by the Rolling Stones. And it's in lead guitar terms, those of us who do play, it's relatively simple. It's not a lot to it. But I know many of you need to start. You need to get to something, right? So let's try and figure this out right now, right? I want to get to it. So in standard tuning, what we're going to do, I know Keith Richards used a lot of different tunings in his day. I honestly don't know the whole history of how they did all their tunings for all these songs and whatnots. But for standard tuning, the best way to play this is you're going to need a capo, okay? If you want to play to the recording, the original recording of Painted Black. So if you have a capo, yes, you are allowed to put on electric guitar. Sometimes there's this misconception that you can't put it on electric. Of course you can put it on electric. I mean, why not? It does the exact same thing we want it to do. Who cares if it's electric or it's acoustic? So you're going to want to use a capo for this tune. And we're going to want to put the capo on the 3rd fret. Now, let me adjust the camera here so you can get to see the guitar because you don't want to see me as much. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the capo. Now, if you don't know how to set a capo on guitar, I'm going to give you a quick 20-second dissertation there on how to put this on. A couple things to watch for when you're putting your capo on a guitar. This is acoustic, electric, doesn't really matter. It's all the same. You want to be able to take this capo, and when you place it on the fret, like we're going to put this on the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3, 3rd fret. A couple things to look for. One, when you put the capo on, make sure that sometimes you don't put it on awkwardly. Let me see if I can try and do this in an awkward way. Maybe, I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, see, I'm so used to doing it the right way. But if you put the capo on, watch that these strings aren't bent, right? Because sometimes we put them on a little weird and it pulls the string, okay, one way or another. You don't want that to happen because obviously the whole guitar from here on out is going to be out of tune. So you want to take the capo, and I always like to just, make sure that it's on. Sometimes if I have time, I'm just going to do it a couple times, and I kind of like to hold the strings in place. This literally takes me all of like 3 seconds to do. I'm just giving you the long version of this, and I just place it on and I'm good. The other thing that I prefer to do, I know not everybody does this, and if you have other ways of doing this that have worked for you, that's fine. I like to make sure that the capo is the closest to the fret wire. So we want to make sure that we're a little bit close to that fret wire. We want to put it, you don't have to put it necessarily on it, although that probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but you want to get it really, really close. And why do we want that? Well, because if you put it further back, you're pulling the string a little bit more. And what's going to end up happening is the strings are going to go a little bit sharp, especially if you're playing to a recording, or say you're playing with a band that's already tuned up, you're already tuned up, and you're going to find that if you're back here, it's going to be a little bit out of tune. So you want to put it closer to the fret wire, and that, oh, by the way, the fret wire is these metal parts. They divide the frets. As closest to the bridge side. Here's the bridge. So on this side of the guitar, not on the headstock side. Closest to this side is where you want to set it in. All right. That's really, really super important for capos. So I know that wasn't supposed to be the lesson, but since this lesson does involve a capo, here's your opportunity to get the capo right. And so I like personally to put it as close as I can to the fret wire. And when I play, and then so that way it's going to be as close as it can be to being in tune to either the record or being in tune to anybody I'm jamming with, playing with, what have you. Okay, so that's where we wanted to have that for this. So anyway, this song is going to be the capo on the 3rd fret. All right, and you're going to leave it there. And then we're going to play this mostly up here. And let me see if I got my sound right here before I get cranked here. Right, there we go. All right, let me get a close up. I'm gonna move the camera. Sorry to make you dizzy, but we're gonna get a little bit close here, and because it's going to be from here, right here, I got this finger, okay, up to here. So this is the area of the guitar we're going to be playing this little solo. And we're going to be using also, which is the main reason why I put the capo on, is we're going to be constantly going back to this open note here. This is the 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we're going to be going back to that note quite a bit when we're playing this lick. Like, we're going to be going back and forth. So that's going to be the one little tricky part you're going to have to pay attention to, and I'll get to that in a second. And that's why I have the capo on, because this note here is an F. It's an F note that's over there. Okay, so when that open note there, that's actually called an F. So we want to be able to come back to that constantly. And so when you hear it, that note constantly coming back, and it's not one of the open strings, it might be a pretty good indication that you're going to probably need to capo it. Probably, most likely, or it's in some different tuning. And honestly, they may be in a different tuning. I don't know if Keith Richards played this, but he may have I know he's done weird tuning, so maybe he did it a different way. But for me here, what I'm going to do here in standard tuning, which most of us are in, we're going to leave that capo there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put our finger right here on the 10th fret. Now all the lines here, all the lead lines on this, the main lines are going to be on the G string, the 3rd string. We'll call it the 3rd string, or the G string, whichever you want to call it. All the main melody lines are going to be on this string. All right. And then in a second, I'm going to incorporate this open D. All right. So let's learn the melody first, and then we're going to add on that open D. Okay. So here's the line. I would put the pointer finger here on the 10th fret, and we're going to go. And really what you can do here is probably use one finger. You can even just use one finger for the whole thing. But I like doing the first note here. This is just how I do it. You can do it all in one note if you want. But we're going to start 10. And then we're going to go to 12th fret on the G string. Again, all these numbers I'm saying are the fret numbers, and they're on this same string. So we're going to go from 10 to 12 to 13 to 15. So, and then you go back the same way. All right, so I did that. So if you just do this, and notice that I'm doing my ring finger. I'm using my ring finger to get to the end, and then I go back to my pointer finger and take the pointer finger back. That just works for me. Again, if you want to just you can play this all with one finger if you want. It's just that's a lot of movement. There's already enough movement on this thing as ready. Anyway, Painted Black starts here. All right, just one note, one pick a piece, and then you're going to play this Again, down to 9, back to 10, back to 12, back to 10. All right, so and then we close up on 9. Okay, I forgot to add that extra one. So we're back on 9. So it's just really going up and down on that same string. Now, I know those of you who are into the Stones know that there's a little extra thing down at the very beginning. I will show that. But let me go through the main line here, and then I'll add that on here before we're done with this song. All right, so you're going to go up. All right, so let me go over that one more time. So it's 10, 12, 13, 15, 13, 12, 10, 10 again, 9, 10, 12, 10 to 9. Okay, notice they're all hit just one time, except that one time I showed you on 10, you hit it twice. So that's how the main melody goes. And honestly, if you just did that, you're good. You won't even need the capo. You can just do that. But if you want to play it the way it sounds on the recording, you're going to have to incorporate this D. All right. And this is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated. Tiny bit. If you're not used to it, it's going to be a little more complicated. Is after each time you play these notes, you're going to also, in between each of those notes, you're going to pick the lower, this fourth string. All right, so let me show you just between this first two notes. So I did that, and everything's down picked. So I did those 3 notes. See how I did it? I picked the note, open string. You're constantly going back to that open string. So what you want to do, and if this is new to you, go slow. In fact, I'm going to go slow really here. I'm going to go super slow right here so you can understand what I'm talking about. Practice slow when you're learning this stuff, please. So see, I did that. So in between each note, so this is what you're going to have to work on if you want to just really play it how it really is. Now, if this is new and you're still trying to struggle getting that coordination, don't do the whole riff. Just do maybe 1 or 2. Do the first 2 notes just to get used to having your picking hand go back and forth. And you just go back and forth like that. Go slower, even slower if you're just having struggle with it. Just keep going back and forth with that so you can get used to the pick going from one string to the next in terms of how the riff is played. So you definitely want to work on that and go slow. Please go slow with this thing. Don't be in a rush with it, okay? You definitely want to be able to do this slower and then work your speed up to the speed of the song. And then you play the riff then. So once you got it, you maybe go slow. All right. And once you get that, congratulations. If you have not played a lead line, you have now been indoctrinated into Lead Guitar 101. You now know a lead line. You don't know the key. You may not know the scale, but you can play the line, which is good. It's a good start, right? Now, just the little bit of added feature here for those of you that want to get that very, very beginning. There's a little extra thing he does at the end. All right, so that's a little added thing. Now, you got to be kind of having some kind of knowledge of pull-offs and hammer-ons because you're going to need it. So the ending line goes like this. All right, so one pick, hammer on. So we're going to start at the 9 on the G. And so if you're interested in doing this, you want to start at the 9 on the G and just pick one. So you got to hammer out the middle and the little finger. And then you're going to do a pull off. You notice I got to move my hand. So, and then pull off from the middle to the pointer. And notice it's only one pick there. So there's not much picking. There's one. There's actually two times you pick the strings and you get all those notes for it. All right. So if you're not used to your hammer-ons, you might want to work on your hammer-ons. Now that's not what today's lesson is not going to cover the hammer-ons, but hammer-ons and pull-offs. But you'll want to make sure your hammer-ons and pull-offs can work. And this is a double hammer-on, right? It's 2 fingers. Notice I just pick one, and then we go right, one pick. And then that gets you the intro to that. Okay. So that in essence is it. I mean, that riff plays a lot in the song while the singing's going on. But it is a lead line, if you will, a lead line. But if you never played a lead, congratulations. If you got this one, you are good. You are now ready to roll on lead guitar. So, and make sure the capo is set the way we had talked about. All right. Okay, now let's go from the 60s to the 90s, early 90s, 91, I think it was, right, folks? 91. Nirvana came out with this and it changed music, death of the hair bands. I have my opinions. I'm going to keep them to myself about hair bands, but let's just say I was welcoming this type of music. All right, so now we're going to get into Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. So the song itself is fairly simple, right? It just got a right. We're just playing 4 chords primarily, right? There's some other ones later, but primarily it's F, B flat, A flat, and D flat, right? Just power chords, no bar chord. And there's in the verses. All right, it's just those two strings right there. Put a little bit of modulation with some fast rate there. It sounds really, really good. So, but again, we're not learning the actual song. I'm here to show you the lead guitar work on that one. So, lead guitar work is actually not too bad, not too terribly difficult. But again, like I said, if you're new, this is going to be a little bit of a workout for you. And again, this starts a lot on the G string, which is kind of interesting. At least the way I do it. There's probably like 3 or 4 different ways you can play this exact solo. So, it's kind of arbitrary. This is just the way I do it. And a lot of it's on one string and then it goes to another string. So you're really only going to be using the 2 middle strings here, but also pay attention to the fingering and use. What fingers are doing what, right? We're going to do it this way. It's actually a bend. All right, that's what we're going to play. So here's a quick thing here. I'm gonna give you the fret numbers again. We're staying on the G string, and we're going to go from 5. So 5 to 8. Now you could stretch. I'm going to probably just stretch my ring finger out, or you can go do this with your little finger, depending on what you're comfortable with. Or you can just do this with one finger. Again, here we go. A lot of this is one finger soloing-ish on this one per string. So let's do the one finger one. So you can go on 5 to 8. So you're going to 5, 8, 10, right? Just sort of slide down to the 6th fret on the D string. Now another way to do that, you can bend it if you want, but I'm assuming that you're kind of early in your guitar playing. So I'm going to try. Well, there's going to have to be a couple of little bends in here, but I think you can do it. I really think you can do it. So, but this is one you probably don't have to do a bend here. So it goes 5, 8, and then you just slide down. Just slide down 2 frets when you do the slip. All right, and then that's right here on the 6th fret on the D string. Ah, there's a bend. Sorry, I lied. So you're gonna do on the you do a bend here on what is that? I'm losing count here. My brain's going weird. Okay, that's 10. That's the 8th fret. You don't have to bend a lot. If you're not used to bending, you can actually just. Okay, so you can go up. All right, so you can get away with the bend by just going up to here. So to 10, slide down to 6 on the D. And then here you can go, if you don't want to do the bend, you can go from 8 to 10 and slide down to the 8th fret. So, and then it closes up here to the 6 and 5 on the G string. Again, we're other than that one note, we're pretty much still on the G string. So let me give you a better angle here too. I think I'm not giving you a good angle. So all right, see how I did that? So 5, 8, 10, slide down to 8 to 6 on the D string, back to 8 on the G string, and you go up to the 10 and then slide down to the 8, just a slide. So that means you don't pick it twice, you slide. All right, so if you can't do the bends, that's what you're going to do, right? So and then back to 6 to 5, back to 6, and then you're going to go down here the 8th fret here on the low D string. And then here on the D string, the same thing. You're going to go from the 8 to 10, slide down, then to 6 to 5. All right, so let me put that together a little bit here. So I'm going to go really super slow. And then play it again. And then that's twice, and then the ending is just this. So that's just on the D string. You're just going to go from 6 to 5, back and forth. All right, and then I play it right here on the 8th fret on the low string, the A string, or you can go. You can drop down here to the 3rd fret on that D string. So either one's good. You can go here or either way, works either way. So at the very end, it's just it just goes back and forth, and then it ends on that note here, which is actually an F, or here, whichever one. And then if you got an amp, you got some heavy grungy distortion, crank it and let the feedback go, and that's it. So that's how you would do it without having to bend if string bending is not your thing. Now, if you can do the string bending, you can get away with it. I'm just going to kind of go through this really quick. It goes so. There's a bend. So that's where I already did those slides down. That's where you can substitute the bending, and some of it I think is some bending in there. But either way, it can work, and either way you're going to be able to play the solo. Okay, so how about this? This is freaking awesome. Y'all have just learned 2 guitar solos, right? I think that's pretty cool, right? I think it's pretty cool that you guys have a couple of solos that you can put under your belt, you can work on. If you need to take your time on this one, you can go back and replay it. If you're on YouTube, you can replay it back. And if you really got to work on it hard, you got, you can slow the video down, right? There's a little gear thing that slows it down to 75%. I use that as a tool a lot for my students if we're trying to figure something out and we need to slow it down a bit. I'd even do it too if I'm trying to figure out a solo. That I'll slow it down a little bit. And I like the idea that YouTube does that. Or if you got software and you got an MP3, go ahead. Whatever you want to do, try and slow it down. Excuse me, if you can. And both of those solos and work on them. Take your time. Don't rush through it. Go nice and slow and then work your speed up until you get it. All right. That's kind of the big idea of this whole thing. So anyway, thanks a lot here for watching, folks. Again, if you want to know what key those things are in, I'm not going to tell you. We can go over that another time. But before you know the key, you're going to need to know where your notes are at. So again, the note finder is down below, and the guitar finger gymnastics is down there as well to work on your note playing skills. And that's about it. I think we're done. Thank you for watching if you're live, and those of you who are going to be watching in the future of this time, at this moment. Ooh, that sounds kind of Twilight Zone-ish, but then thanks for watching. Leave a comment below, and if there's any questions, anybody who's watching now wants to throw them my way, go ahead. Otherwise, we're gonna let this one go, and I'm gonna go get ready for my wife's birthday, which is today. Happy birthday, Rachel! Woo. And then obviously getting ready for Thanksgiving, which will be small, but it'll be here at home tomorrow for our celebration. And then those of you who are watching afterwards, you may be in July, like Thanksgiving. Just have a great day anyway, regardless of when you are and where you are. Stay healthy, keep on rocking, keep on jamming. I'm going to have more of these coming up. I got a lot of other videos on my YouTube channel, so go ahead and check that out as well. And again, thank you. I do appreciate it. Y'all make my my job a lot easier and a lot more fun when I know that you're getting something out of these goofy lessons that I try to do. I'm just trying to stay consistent. So anyway, thanks a lot. And you guys all have a great day and rock on.